Welcome to the Psych and Business Podcast, where we highlight the integration of psychology and psychological principles into the world of business and organizations. I'm your host, Dr. Ernest Wayde. Earlier in the week, we had the absolute pleasure of having Dr. John Reed on the show. John is an icon in the coaching world, and it was such a pleasure to have him on the show and to be able to talk to him about some of his experiences. I was really impressed with the journey that he took. Being a high-level executive and making the choice, the very brave choice, to leave that role so that he could go back and get his psychological degree. I think that was fantastic. And also really interesting, I think, because from my experience, most of the time, people go the other way. People are psychologists first, usually in clinical or organizational, and then get some additional training in things like organizational health, and then also additionally get some training in business world, whether it be an MBA or some sort of degree or certification to help them better understand the business world. I think John's experience was really interesting because it also mirrors my experience. In my experience, I actually was in the IT world for a long time, as a programmer and a business analyst, and then became a project manager and a client relations manager before I actually went and got my degrees in psychology, in clinical psychology, in cognitive psychology, and then follow that up with the fellowship in organization development at the National Center for Organization Development. And so I went that way as well, which I think to me has been really great because I feel like I have a well-rounded understanding of both people and the business world, and really love to talk about the integration of those two. One of the things that John said that I think was really very important was he was talking about the importance of a coach. And a coach can be critical to help you improve your performance. He said, if a coach can even help you improve your performance by 10%, which might not seem very much, but even if it's by 10%, the cascading impact on your team, on your business, on your organization as a leader is felt significantly, because leaders have such a critical role in the work that they do and the role that they play in an organization, the people that they work with and that they lead, that any increase in efficiency, any increase in performance can have great cascading impacts along the whole business. So I absolutely agree with John in terms of the need for a coach. I remember when I was starting off, when I made the transition from doing technical work to leading people, I was a project manager and managed a group of groups of people doing systems implementation. And I was fairly young at the time and frankly didn't really know what I was doing as a leader. I'd had no training on leadership or no sort of leadership development. That wasn't something that we did in our organization. We just kind of did the best that we could. And I know that as hard as I tried, I definitely could have done better. I could have done better for the employees that I worked with. I could have done better for the clients that I engaged with, but I just really didn't know any better. And it would have been fantastic to have a coach, someone who specialized in leadership development, to help me understand what it meant to be a leader, to help me understand what my strengths were as a leader, to help me understand what my weaknesses were as a leader, so that I could make improvements, so that I could better serve my employees, to help them advance, to help them improve. But we didn't have those in those days. I think now the concept of coaching is becoming more and more acceptable and more popular. But I think it should be something that businesses really pay attention to. I have some clients that I do some work with where it's a great organization and it's a pretty large organization, but they don't really focus on leadership development. They do very little work on that, if anything at all, because it's not something that they've focused it. It's not something that they've felt is necessary. They've transitioning from a small organization to that mid and large organization. And while you're small, you might not think leadership is important because you have a small number of people. But the larger you get, the more leaders you have, the more critical their role is. And so we've been doing some work with the leaders of the organization to better help them understand what a leader of their organization should be able to do, should understand the qualifications, the skills, And the more work we talk about what leadership is and the kind of leaders they want and have in their organization, the more they're seeing the value of leaders and are advocating themselves for leadership training, leadership development, and coaching in their organization to help the leaders that they have improve, to help themselves even as leaders to improve. And so I think that's a great thing that a coach can do, right? Is they can help you make the improvements that are necessary so that you can do that much better, whether it's 10%, 5%, 25%, 50% better. Because the better you do as a leader, that cascades down to the organization, right? The better you do as a leader, the better everybody does, and the better your organization does. And that's what this is all about, right? It's about bringing value to the business, bringing value to the organization by helping to improve individuals, leaders, the performance of these individuals that are critical and key to the success of the organization. John also talked about the role of a trusted advisor, and he was referring in this to, working with very, very high level executives, individuals who are responsible for multi-billion-dollar organizations, who are the linchpin and are responsible for so many people's lives and livelihoods. These individuals, really should invest in trusted advisors. A trusted advisor is somebody who you can speak to openly and honestly, who you can use as a sounding board, who you can get feedback from. And that, I think, to me, that relationship is a little bit different from just a regular executive coach, because this is somebody that you can be completely honest with, and that someone who partners with you for your success and the success of your business. Right? I think a coach really focuses on helping you to develop, but there are certain lines, they can help you only so far. But a trusted advisor is somebody that is your partner, right? And that's the approach that I really like to take when I work with an organization. I really like to make sure that I'm partnering with that organization. I want to be a partner with them to help them be successful, to help their business be successful. And so I really think that approach and that role of a trusted advisor is really critical at that very high level, when we're talking about executives who are responsible for multi-billion-dollar organizations, because leadership can be a very lonely experience. As a leader, you don't often have an opportunity to engage with other leaders and just talk about leadership, right? If you think about it, if you're just if you're an employee at the employee level, you have coworkers that you can talk to about the work that you do. But once you become a manager or a leader of any kind, you don't often get to engage with other managers. Most of the time you're spending with your teams, with your employees. I have another organization that I work with where the managers are really appreciate any opportunity to get together as managers and really love to support each other, because management can be very lonely. They don't get time to engage each other and to get feedback from each other and to support each other. And so we've been working there to really try to help improve and increase the opportunities where managers can do that, can just spend time together in the community of other managers, because I think that can be, again, a very lonely thing. But the support you get from other managers can be really helpful. I think the feedback that they can provide, they understand the work of managing people, the challenges that comes along with that, and they can provide some solutions and really be very helpful in coming up with some new ideas as well. So I encourage and advocate for that as much as possible in terms of managers getting opportunities to engage as managers, coaches for leaders, especially new or transitioning leaders, and trusted advisors for those really top level executive leaders who are responsible for a lot of things and really need someone to partner with them to make sure that to help them through the success of their organization. So I've been very fortunate in that I've had a lot of opportunities to engage as a coach and a trusted advisor. As I mentioned before in another show, I've also received coaching as a leader when I was in the Veterans Affairs. There's great leadership and mentoring opportunities in that agency, and I was fortunate enough to take advantage of that. But I think as someone who has been both a leader, a manager, a coach, and has received coaching, I think that it is absolutely critical that we continue to advocate for the advancement of coaching in business, making that standard. And I challenge you, think about your experience that you've had in the past. Think about the experience that you're having now. Could you not benefit from having somebody who is an expert in human behavior, somebody who's an expert in leadership, and an expert in team development, an expert in change management, whatever it is that you may be doing? Would you not benefit from having someone who either could help coach you to understand how to do these things better, or who can be that trusted advisor, that sounding board that you can rely on and depend on, to provide that honest feedback and give you that unvarnished truth when you need it, and also to provide you with some ideas of how you can be successful. Really, I think everybody can benefit from coaching, and so I really encourage folks who are thinking about it, wondering about it, to really spend some time thinking about what they would like to get from coaching, and to look out for some coaches. Now, as John mentioned, there are a variety of coaches, and you should really do some work to determine who would be an appropriate coach for you in terms of what you're looking for, but also in terms of their qualifications and their experience. I think it's important that we do the due diligence, right, and make sure that what we're getting is what we want and is going to help us achieve the goals that we want. All right. So as always, I'd love to hear from anybody, any thoughts or comments. You can reach me at ernest@psychandbusiness.com. Please send any feedbacks or any thoughts and comments. If you've had coaching in the past and you want to talk about that, love to hear that. If you've had good experiences, bad experiences, whatever your experience may be about coaching, if you've never had coaching and you're thinking about it, feel free to shoot me an email and let's talk about it. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Thank you.